The first lie you were ever taught was subtle, it was wrapped in kindness, dipped in encouragement, and spoken by adults who believed it themselves: work hard and you will succeed. It sounded moral, it sounded fair, it sounded like justice, but fairness is a bedtime story societies tell children so they don't notice the caged picture: a classroom, same teacher, same textbook, same exams, 30 children sitting in identical chairs. Now ask yourself this: if the system is fair, why do the same children rise every year, and the same children fall? Why do some students accumulate confidence like compound interest, while others bleed it out drop by drop? Why does success snowball, and failure metastasize? This is not coincidence, this is design. Today we're exposing the Matthew effect, a psychological law that governs education, wealth, power, and social hierarchy, a law so ruthless that once it grips a child, it quietly decides the rest of their life, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. In 1968, sociologist Robert K. Merton described a phenomenon so dark it was almost poetic: to those who have, more will be given; from those who have not, even what they have will be taken. This became known as the Matthew effect. It sounds biblical because it is, but in schools, it operates like a silent algorithm. The student who reads early gets praised, praise builds confidence, confidence fuels participation, participation earns more attention, attention accelerates learning. Meanwhile, the student who struggles early is labeled slow, distracted, needs improvement. Labels harden, expectations drop, opportunities shrink. No teacher wakes up thinking, I will sabotage this child. But systems don't need malice to destroy, they only need momentum. The Matthew effect doesn't ask who deserves success, it only asks who already has it. At age 6, a child misreads a sentence. At age 10, they stop raising their hand. At age 15, they believe they are not academic. At age 25, they say, school just wasn't for me. And everyone nods. What they never see is the chain reaction. Early success is not just about skill, it's about attention allocation. Teachers unconsciously invest more in students who perform well, more feedback, more patience, more encouragement. The struggling student receives silence, or worse, correction without warmth. Over time, performance becomes prophecy. The system doesn't lift talent, it amplifies advantage. And disadvantage doesn't need to be large, it only needs to arrive early. Here's the uncomfortable truth: most academic success has very little to do with raw intelligence. Keith Stanovich, who formally applied the Matthew effect to reading development, found something brutal: small early differences in literacy explode into massive gaps over time, not because some children are smarter, but because practice compounds. Reading more improves vocabulary, vocabulary improves comprehension, comprehension accelerates learning across all subjects. The child who reads becomes omnipotent, the child who doesn't becomes invisible. By adolescence, the gap looks like ability, but it's actually exposure. The system confuses head start with talent, and then worships the illusion it created. Here's what no report card will ever show: repeated academic failure doesn't just lower grades, it rewires identity. The brain learns, effort leads to pain, trying leads to humiliation, visibility leads to judgment. So the child adapts, they disengage, they numb curiosity, they trade growth for safety. This is not laziness, this is psychological self-preservation. Meanwhile, the successful student learns the opposite: effort brings reward, speaking up brings validation, the system listens. By adulthood, one group believes the world responds to them, the other believes it never will. That belief shapes everything. Modern education does not reward thinkers, it rewards compliance disguised as intelligence. Sit still, follow instructions, regurgitate approved answers, perform on command. Children who question assumptions are labeled disruptive, children who think slowly but deeply are labeled weak, children who operate outside the template are quietly pushed aside. The system does not optimize for truth, it optimizes for order. And order always benefits those who adapt early. The Matthew effect thrives in bureaucracies, because bureaucracy loves predictability. The most cruel trick education plays is convincing winners they earned everything alone, and losers that failure is personal. This myth is essential, because if people understood structural advantage, the system would lose legitimacy. Meritocracy is not designed to reward effort, it is designed to justify inequality. When success looks earned, no one questions the rules. When failure looks deserved, no one demands change. The Matthew effect is not a bug, it is the engine. Private schools know this, tutors know this, legacy institutions weaponize this. They front-load advantage, language exposure, cultural capital, confidence conditioning. By the time standardized tests arrive, the outcome is already sealed. Public systems sell hope, elite systems manufacture certainty, and the children inside them grow up believing the world is responsive, because it has always been. Here's the part no institution will tell you. Once you understand the Matthew effect, you stop internalizing failure. You realize you were not broken, you were outpaced early, and momentum is not morality. Escaping requires brutal self-re-education, rebuilding confidence manually, accumulating small wins deliberately, ignoring timelines designed for others. The system rewards those who never needed saving, but power belongs to those who see the system clearly, and clarity is the first step toward autonomy. School was never about learning, it was about sorting who speaks confidently, who doubts themselves, who assumes authority, who waits for permission. Once you see the rigging, the shame dissolves, and anger becomes precision. The Matthew effect does not disappear in adulthood, it simply changes uniforms, but now you know the rule. And knowing the rule means you can bend it. If this exposed something you've always felt but never named, stay here. This channel isn't about motivation, it's about deprogramming.